Hey guys, it's Ricky. So today we're just doing our weekly technical analysis again for TechBuds. So we're just gonna wait for a couple of people to hop back or hop in when it comes to joining this. So pretty much how this works is if you're already in TechBud Solutions, you can either message me on Facebook if you have any questions, or you can just comment or message me on our GroupMe application. So let's see if I can get this to work. All right. Let me go ahead and allow people to join. All right, so I'm just going to copy the link and then I'm going to share it to our GroupMe members. So thank you guys again for taking time away from your Sunday afternoon so we can talk about this. So let me just go ahead and share this. All right, so we'll just go ahead and get started. The people that are tuning in right now, you guys can message me on GroupMe or on Facebook if you guys have any questions about just an individual question, and then it's a 10-second delay. So if I don't respond, that is why I don't respond right away. But I have a couple of stocks I'm going to be talking about. We have different members doing different things within the group. And yeah, I mean, we just kind of each put in our work and kind of just, we kind of have our own way of trading. So for myself, I play it very safe when it comes to trading penny stocks. I tend to shoot for a 10% profit margin. I have a stop loss set up and I don't hold overnight. As of that is, the three strategies that have really helped me succeed when it comes to trading penny stocks. So, I'm just very realistic when it comes to my gains. So I shoot for a 10%. Depending on, what stock I'm trading, I either have a 10% or a 20% stop loss. And then I do not hold overnight. And with that being said, I do not trade stocks, but I don't see a 10% potential. I don't mind if I don't trade, in a day. I just want to make sure that if I do trade, that there's a reason behind it. And I'm not just kind of, hoping for the best. So if you guys hear something sizzling, my roommate's actually cooking some steaks. Yeah, let's go ahead and hop on to this little analysis. Let me share my screen. Okay, so let's start out with dust. You guys might not know about dust because we don't talk about it too much. It's not necessarily a penny stock, just because it has a $5 value. Essentially, when it comes to trading this stock, those with smaller accounts, wouldn't find a huge benefit in trading this. But I feel like this is a longer hold in a sense. I still don't suggest holding overnight just based on the potential of this possibly becoming a penny stock. But based on this huge drop that you see here, you see, huge potentials based on, let's say we go to a 1-year history, we are still at the lowest that it's ever been. So if we go back to a 10-day increment and kind of change the value to 15 minutes, it will be back for 5 minutes. Yep. So there we go. So right now it's at 164. Based on that being said, there's a safety net right around 164. It's a little bit below, or it's right about 564, maybe a little bit below that. When it opens on Monday, what we kind of hope for, this is the first resistant level, which means that when it drops down to around 564, it tends to pick back up based on the history that we see here. And yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to be looking for. If I see upward potential, I'll buy in, and then I know that this is a resistance level, so I'll set my limit order to sell there, and then you can kind of go for there. That is not necessarily 10% based on what you're trading, but there definitely is some potential to make a gain. So if you kind of just want to learn the concept and want to play it a little bit safe, dust is definitely the way to go. In order to just see like if you can make 5% on dust itself. In the 10-day increment, 10 days ago, sitting right around that $9 mark. So when it comes to make sure you go and do your own analysis, I'm just kind of giving some suggestions based on what I'm reading based on the charts. but yeah, I mean, it tends to sit around like, so let's say if we do a 3 month, it's been on a constant decline. With that being said, is, you see it kind of, let's call this like a level 5. It drops to level 4, so it plays around, within the $14 to $20 range. Drops again, let's call this, level 3. And it's playing around, the, what is this? $9 range to $14 range, and then now let's call this level 2. So this is playing around, that $5 range to that $10 range. So level 1 could essentially be this upcoming week, and then we can see a larger drop. So just be aware of that. So you kind of have to make your own little analysis and kind of go off, whatever your gut is saying, but make sure it's an educated, kind of guess or something like that. So let's go on to Eagle. Eagle, something we're a little bit more similar to. So Eagle did not get delisted. This big drop that you see, they actually increased their market shares available to the consumers, or to the it's not preferred shareholders, it's common shareholders, which is us. And with that being said, you saw a big drop, not because it got delisted, but because there were more shares available, therefore the price per share was less valuable. So there's that big drop, and it started picking back up. So this little chart kind of just shows. So what you kind of have to shoot for is, my 10% goal is, let's say we're trading at around 3.6. My 10% goal would essentially be around, kind of 3 to 4 cents. That is my goal target. So I'm going to look down here. Essentially, I would buy in around if it hits 34 cents, because I could sell, within at 38, and that's my 10% margin. Do I think that could happen within one day? Definitely, based on this and the volume that's been within Eagle itself. So I really set your alerts. If it falls below 36, and if it does fall below 36, then just know that you can buy in, and have your set your limit order to buy in at 34, and then set your limit order to sell at 38. And with that being said, just remember not to hold overnight. So we're going to go into GALE. GALE is something that we've been talking about. There's been a lot of people in our group, just Jetson, Sean, and different members within our group that have been talking about GALE and kind of introduced GALE to our whole group. So that was a lot of fun. And there was those who wrote it pretty well and those who didn't. And yeah, so let's do a little analysis based on this. There's been a very strong safety net right at that 45-cent mark. So Monday we'll kind of determine if this is going to be something that we're going to be trading within a 5-day period. So we have someone asking a question. So yeah, kind of let Monday determine, if it goes above, it starts picking up at 45 cents. Just remember that a 10% profit margin would essentially be at that 50 cent to 49 cent mark. So there's obviously that potential. Just based on all this, this is a 5-day increment. So if I go into a 1 month or a 3-month increment, we're sitting pretty low. And let's go into a 1 month increment. So again, this is a penny stock. You do not want to hold overnight based on this potential. So within 1 month, let's go ahead and back to change, Okay, so we're at 45 cents. If you see it going up, just buy in and be ready to sell right around 50 cents. But if you do not see that potential and you see it picking back down and possibly dropping below that 45-cent mark, just expect, a big drop, or not a big drop, but it's been dropping in about like 5-cent increments. So it was around that, 55 to 60 cent mark. Then it was around that 50 to 55 cent mark. Then it was around, the 45 to 50 cent mark. And now it's around, 45 just to kind of like, 48. That's where it's kind of topping out. So it's been holding there for quite a bit. Hopefully, it tends to pick back up. But based on this potential, I mean, let's say this never existed. So just kind of block that off. So let's say this never existed. We're kind of trading, let's say, as in July 7th. It kind of looks similar to this. There's a couple ups and downs, and it kind of plateaus. This up and down, it kind of plateaus. So this will kind of determine if it picks back up or drops back down. So just be in the lookout for GALE. If it drops down to, below 45 cents, I'd say, a good limit order to sell would be around, 30 cents to 35 cents to 40 cents as a, as a quick buy-in, and then kind of just, ride it up. So those people that knew about that 5-cent, kind of just drop, knew that they could buy in around 45 cents. They bought in and sold, they're probably hoping to go back up to 50 cents. Volume just wasn't there, and end up selling around 48 cents. You just have to buy in and do, kind of quick quick analysis on the market and on the volume, and if it's not passing 48 as, you know, it kind of broke out here, dropped back down and it's picking back up, might as well just at least, you know, secure your gains and sell. So let's go ahead and go to LPCN. So, okay, let me slow down and let me go ahead and read that. Actually, I could read that comment. I apologize. Read that comment. So just if you guys want to write down some notes again based on what we were saying. So I know a buddy from our group, Zach, just commented on the YouTube page, but yeah, so let's go ahead and go back into that. I'm sorry about that, but Zach's actually a really good trader. He's discovered, I believe he introduced us to LPCN, which wasn't the best introduction, you know, but it happens. He found something that it had a lot of potential. I believe LPCN is the one that was kind of hoping for that. What do we call FDA approval for their new medicine, new medication that they were coming out. It did not pass FDA approval, and that kind of, you know, made it have that big drop. So yeah, LPCN was that stock. I actually bought in, you know, at that 60 at $6 mark. Ended up dropping down to around the low threes, and it's been picking up, so that's good. So there's a lot of upward momentum. So for those, that's definitely one that we're actually just going to talk about. But it's one that's introduced, you know, a lot of different stocks into our group, and he's one that has a different style of trading. He creates, you know, spreadsheets on Excel, and he's now getting into the volume aspect of trading, which is something that I feel that's going to be very important for our group once our traders begin to progress. So yeah, Zach, if you guys don't, if like, let's say you guys want to reach out to me and I can't respond quick enough based on, you know, me being busy, feel free to reach out to Zach. Zach's someone that's very knowledgeable about trading. It's probably one of the ones that has been trading the longest within this group besides me. But yeah, he's a great trader, and you know, he's made $1,000 a week essentially within 3 days of trading. I think that was like one of his, you know, top weeks of trading. So he's definitely got to look out for. So let me go ahead and go back into that. I apologize again for that little stop. So let's go back into yeah, LPCN. So yes, LPCN. So again, we were talking about it being within 1 month ago, you know, sitting around that $6 mark. It had that big drop. You know, I should have noticed that, you know, it was below any safety net that I've ever, you know, known, but it just ended up dropping, huge drop after the decline of the FDA approval happened. And based on that, you know, we've been riding it up. But yeah, I mean, it still has, you know, a lot of potential. It's not one that I'm willing to sell, not necessarily because of the loss that I had, but because of what, you know, not because of what I believe, but based on this not really being a penny stock, it really has a lot of potential. And with you know, what Zach has contributed to this group, he said that these process for it actually going through as a mislabeling that ended up leading this to not go through. Can take up to, you know, 1 to 3 months for it to fix itself. So, you know, once it starts picking back up, then that's definitely something that I can kind of either break even, and it's not money that I necessarily need, as, you know, one of the biggest rules of trading is trade with money that you don't mind losing altogether. So if you're trading with $10,000 and that's all you have, and you lose those 10,000, then that's kind of your fault, because based on, you know, you hoping to probably, you know, make 10 times as much within one night is kind of, you know, not realistic. So if you're willing to invest $1,000, just imagine, you know, once you invest those 1,000, that like you've never actually had it. So be smart when you trade, and make sure that what you trade, if you want to start with $150 or $1,000, make sure it's something that you're willing to lose, just so you're not devastated after a big drop. But, you know, the stuff that we implement with Tech Buds, you know, with that stop loss, not holding overnight, and that 10% profit margin, I feel like will really lead to the success of you becoming a successful day trader, based on, you know, you having less potential to lose money. So let's get into LPCN. You know, it hit the 183. I remember when it did hit 183, I was thinking of selling just based on me thinking that it was going to come back down, but I was a little afraid of of just not knowing that, maybe just a huge spike was going to happen and I was going to miss that spike. So I ended up just holding, just like I said, I ended up dropping back. And you can kind of read this like this. So when you see that big drop, investors want to see where the next safety net is. And based on the candlestick breaking right about here, as you can see, based on its history, that's actually where it ended up catching on. So that's how they know that, this is a good place to hold. They begin to buy in, buy in, buy in. And based on, it already topping off around here, this is now a new safety net, picks back down, hits 317 essentially, picks back up right around 330, drops back down, and then passes that, 330 mark, which was a resistance level and is now a safety net. So once, a stock passes its resistance level, so let's bring this down here. Once a stock passes its resistance level around 330 and it goes above it, it now becomes a safety net, so it's going to struggle to go below it. And then, the new resistance level for this stock, let's say we want to put that, it's going to be right about right here. Just based on the history that we see here, it's going to be around 3. Well, stocks like even numbers, so let's do right around 345. As a resistance level. This is a safety net. I would not technically buy in at that point. A safer place for me to buy in would be at 317 if I was considering to buy a little bit more shares of LPCN. So hopefully this is definitely something that you guys should be looking out for. I'd set your alerts once it goes below 320, so you can buy in at 317. And because this is a $3 stock, to make 10%, you'd essentially need a 30-cent gain. So with that being said, if it goes back up to the 345 mark, then that means, your 10% gain. But again, you really have to see how the volume is correlated to this analysis. And Zach is going to be doing, a weekly analysis on volume. So you might want to continue checking up with him. And again, he is a part of TechBuds. So Rex is another stock that we take a look at quite often, and it has huge falls and huge spikes, and this is definitely one to lock in a quick 10% based on its volume. So this is a safety net, 65 cents. Doesn't mean that it can't go below it. Obviously, it is possible. So just be careful when you buy in at 65 cents. If everything looks good and it begins to pick back up, just know you can buy in at 65 cents, and feel comfortable to sell right around 69 to 70 cents. This can be about 9% profit margin. It could continue to go back up, as you can see here, but it's not very likely. But based on its history, it tends to hit 65, and people tend to sell right around 70 cents. So this is definitely a stock to look out for. So I'd set an alert right when it goes below 66 cents. That kind of leads it to fall down to 65 cents, as stocks tend to are just either zeros or fives. So 65 cents is a pretty number, and I really do believe that it's going to hit 65, go back up to around 69 to 70, and that's where you're gonna hopefully sell and not get greedy, right? So yeah, this is one that I'm gonna definitely be looking out for, and I'm gonna put in my chart. So INVT. So again, Zach, there's multiple traders within our group that trade INVT. If you guys notice, this one has been slowing down when it comes to volume. So a lot less volume essentially. So there's a lot more people holding, not a lot of people buying, at least at the certain market price that it is right now. So with that being said, is me personally not knowing too much about INVT. I did make a couple hundred, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, based on me trading. So let's see if I can still pull it up. It was sitting around that 130 mark. It spiked all the way up to that 220, and this was not anything that I expected. Again, I was shooting for 10%. It opened, and then there's a huge decline. I told everyone to sell, or suggested everyone to sell. Ended up selling around 215 and made quite a bit on INVT. But now we're sitting right about that 160 mark, so that's kind of a resistance level. So hopefully Monday will begin, no, not hopefully, but possibly we'll see a drop. I think in a good buy-in, at least for myself, I'd feel safe to buy in right around 140 or 145 to around 140. And if there is that potential to buy in at 130, then definitely I think that's a great buy, as long as there's no bad news with INVT. So do your own analysis, but I'd definitely set your alerts around 145 to 140 for INVT. And just because it's a dollar stock, you guys could essentially, or $1.50, so shoot for like a 15%, 15-cent profit margin, which is definitely possible to buy in around 130 and sell around just 145. I feel like that's a very easy kind of just trade to secure, but it doesn't actually, it's only hit 130 once. So I'd say a 140 to 145 margin to buy in is a lot more realistic. SKLN is one that I've been keeping my eye on. I haven't talked too much about it just because it's been, very reluctant to go below 14 cents. This is definitely a penny stock, and the matter change is very small when it opens and when it closes. So with that being said, since it's a 14-cent stock, what you'd usually shoot for a 10% profit margin is 1 cent. Or almost 2 cents based on you being able to buy around 14 cents. So I'd say for 1 to 2 cents is basically where my profit margin or my 10% would be. So as you can see here, people who bought in at 14, sold at 17. That's well over, I believe that's 15% of whatever you traded. So I feel secure with buying in at 14 as long as I see it picking up. If I see it going below, then just know that you should be selling based on this is unknown territory. But SKLN, right now it's right around 14.5. I'd say set your alerts if it hits 114. 1.4 as a potential stock to be trading. And then the last one's going to be THLD. This is one that I've been keeping my eye on, but a lot of people have as well within our group. And it had a huge drop, it picked up, and it's been staying steady up here. Do I really think it's going to stay up here? Possibly not, just it being a penny stock. So I really do believe that it's going to end up coming back down. Let's go ahead and look a little bit more into it. Yeah. So it has big pumps, and then there's probably going to be a big drop. So just remember not to hold overnight, especially when it comes to this stock itself. And yeah, but I still believe that there is a 10% profit margin. Let's say you fall below around 55 to 56 cents. You could easily sell, just within that 5-cent mark, around 60 cents. So these are stocks that I've been just keeping my eye on. So I tend to trade, 3 to 4 times a week. And I set my alerts every morning and hope that one gets triggered so I can buy in. But I really don't mind it. I mean, I do trading more as something that if it hits a point where I feel comfortable trading, then, I go for it. So I'm really not one that, okay, look, I haven't traded for 2 days, or, it hasn't been at my level. This is an okay stock. Maybe I should just go for it. Because, when it comes to investing your money, that's really what it is. How much do you want to risk? Let's say you have $1,000 at risk. I personally would not feel comfortable, even if there is a slight potential and my margins are 5% to profit. I still wouldn't feel comfortable, buying in at that point, just based on it not having that 10% potential. So if you become a little bit more disciplined when it comes to shooting for that 10%, securing your loss, even though that it sucks to lose money, I'd rather secure my loss and ensure that within a long period of time that I'm actually making money because I have a stop loss, and then not holding overnight. I think with those 3 main principles, will really lead to the success of you becoming a successful trader. I've been talking about those 3 principles a lot. I brought it up, last week on our Sunday talk, and I really noticed that, the people that were trading this week, right away they caught on. They weren't holding overnight. Those who did, they saw the effects of it, and those who didn't, even if they just secured the gain, it might have got delisted or it might have just had a huge drop. And with that being said, it really saved you a lot of money, even if you don't believe it. So that's really what it is. I feel like last week was probably one of our most successful just weeks of trading when it comes to an overall group, based on everyone being able to implement, those 3 main principles. And, we had new members, trading with $100 and making $7, $10 in a day, which is 10%. So it's not about how much money you're really making; it's about how much what your profit margin is. So if you had $1,000, you would have made $70 to $100 within that trade. If you had 10,000, that's $700 to $1,000 profit. So you being able to trade, let's say even with $10, and if you make what is that, 70 cents? That is a 7% profit margin that you understand, and you understand how to make. And that's really the whole idea of trading. Once you understand, the principle of profit margins and understanding percentages, you can be trading with, $500,000, $5,000, $10,000, and then that's when you're going to be making the real money because you understand and you're disciplined when it comes to trading. So thank you guys again. I'm just going to be staying around. There's 6 more minutes left for this talk. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me on Facebook, comment below, or message me on our GroupMe application. If you guys don't know already, you guys can feel free to join us. We are a free group you can join on Facebook, and it's just a really great group. We're about to hit 100 members. We've been active for about 4 months, I believe, and it's been great seeing all these people being able to make some money and really grow or understand. If it's not trading that you really take from this, we're not just a trading group, it's a networking group. So I'm helping different people when it comes to real estate investment and stuff like that. Me myself, I'm getting prepared to buy my second investment property. So I currently own this house. I'll be buying a second one and making this one my investment property, making my new one my primary residence. So I'm kind of just sharing my whole experience of that. And right now, I'm in the market to sell my Nissan GTR. So I actually haven't spoken too much about that, but I'm definitely in the market, and that's kind of, just by understanding safety nets and resistance levels right now, I feel it is the smartest thing to do when it comes to, selling your cars. I'd feel the most comfortable being able to sell my GTR right now. And then I do make a lot of car videos. So if you guys want to watch those, they are in my YouTube channel. We do like GT3s, Maseratis, and GTRs. Some really fun videos. We just like hanging out. And yeah, I'm very blessed. So it's just been really great being able to like have a group that I can always just talk to and reach out to, and I always get feedback back when it comes to trading. Even me, I always ask questions and what they think, because I feel the more open you are to someone else's perspective on an idea will lead a little bit more to your success of having a better understanding of what everyone else is thinking. So let's see. I don't want to take too much of your guys' Sunday. So there's 4 minutes left. It doesn't seem like I'm getting any questions other than Zach saying you're an absolute trading monster. But yeah, so if you guys are watching this video and you guys, don't like that 10% profit margin, if you guys have $100 and you guys were hoping that penny stock, was going to make you, we're going to make you like, thousands and thousands of dollars per day. That's just not realistic. Those people that tend to shoot for those goals tend to lose all their money. With what I'm trying to do, it's like, let's say like my little sister, she's 15. We're trying to grow her account from, starting at $500 to by the time she's 20, hopefully hitting $500 or $50,000, which will help her, later on by the time she's 20, being able to pay for college or buy a house or whatever she wants to do with that money. She can easily do that based on, the principles that we're going for, and realistically shooting for a 10% profit margin. Doesn't mean she has to trade every day. Doesn't mean that she has to make huge profits. Just means that she has to be disciplined, and she has to be realistic when it comes to trading. So yeah, it doesn't seem like I'm getting any messages. I just want to thank you guys again for joining us. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Facebook. You can reach out to me on our GroupMe if you're already in our group, and you can also comment below. If you guys can subscribe, that'd be great. But if not, then that's understandable. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'd love to help you out. And if you guys are interested in trading penny stocks, then I'd love to be a part of your success, and I'm sure everyone within our group would love to help you guys out as well. So thank you guys. Hope you have a good Sunday, and hopefully this can be a good week. Just let's stay disciplined. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday and take care.